I know it's hard to build a business, but it's also absolutely possible for you. I truly believe as long as you don't give up, reaching your dreams is just a question of when, not if. Sometimes though, you just need a little help so you don't lose hope. Consider this video your hope booster, but in ways that are actually helpful, not just fluffy. Let's start by talking about the number one reason people lose hope and give up in their business. You know that saying, you don't know what you don't know? The more experience I gain, the more I realize how powerful that one reminder can be in helping you stay positive. Because even though we've all heard successful people say things like, I wasn't an overnight success, or I've failed so many times, we can't know every single detail that went on behind the scenes. Because of that, what happens, and I have done this myself so many times, I've literally lost count, is that we make up these expectations for how fast or how easy we think it must have been for them. But that is what trips us up big time, because we compare our own progress to those made up expectations, which, by the way, are built on very faulty and incomplete data. Be honest, how often have you thought, I work harder or I'm smarter than so-and-so? Why are they more successful than I am? Honestly, looking back, I'm mortified by how often I used to ask this to my mentors, because every single time I'd eventually get to personally know that so-and-so, which meant I'd learn what they'd actually gone through and the work they put in. Every time, what I learned humbled the heck out of me. Now, I know I promised you some LZ logic. So here's how what I just shared can make a big difference to you not losing hope. We lose hope because we get disappointed. Disappointment happens when our expectations aren't met. But we just went over how our expectations are often completely made up. That means we can shift our entire perspective by changing our expectations. For example, have you thought that you should be further ahead than you are? Is that actually true? Or are you actually doing a lot better than you realized? Let me know in the comments if you're realizing an expectation that you've made up, maybe without even realizing it, that is not helping you. Once you realize the power of changing your expectations to motivate instead of discourage you, you are going to be doing this check-in all the time. Plus, you're going to be growing a lot faster too, because you're not going to be wasting as much energy feeling hopeless. Now that we've got that reframe, let's go over some of my best tips for making sure that you don't lose hope. In a super motivational scene from Netflix's comedy Never Have I Ever, the former most popular kid in high school learns a life-changing lesson from one of its biggest nerds. He asks the nerd, what is making you keep on going? This guy is overweight and can't swim, but he's tried out for the swim team every single year. But it's never occurred to him to give up. What kind of person would I be if I gave up? I haven't even tried yet. Why would I give up? It's okay if I fail as long as I tried. And maybe I don't fail and then I'm really proud of myself. What kind of person just gives up on their dream when they haven't even tried? He knows that it's going to be, quote, a super hard uphill climb, and he's ready for it. Something I struggled with for years is marketing. I couldn't figure out why what I was saying didn't connect with people. It wasn't my strength, but it's something you have to learn if you want to build your business. I realized that when I did my first ever webinar, and nobody stayed on until the end. You know that sinking feeling you get in your stomach when you're afraid that you are just totally going to fail? I was so afraid I would not be able to figure it out. After giving myself plenty of time to wallow though, I decided I was going to figure it out. This is key. I remember telling myself, this is gonna be hard, but I'm gonna do it because it's gonna be worth it. I do a webinar, figure out one thing I could improve, do the next webinar, and repeat. It took 20 webinars, but I eventually made a sale. That decision got me through all the depressing times when I thought I'd crushed it on a webinar, pull up my inbox to check for sale notifications, and hit refresh excitedly to not see anything. Because when you decide you're going to embrace the hard, it does something really powerful for you. Each failure or obstacle lands a little differently. It still hurts, but because you expect the hard, it no longer feels like something you can't get past. But as you know, we are all about playing offense, not just defense around here. High five to that, am I right? The truth is, when you pin your hopes on a certain result, you are likely to get disappointed because a lot of the time you can't control that result. In the early days of my business, I did a lot of sales calls. You know that excitement you feel before a call? Like, oh my gosh, someone might want to hire me. Is this person going to be my next client? You bring your best to the call, but you can't control if that person's going to buy from you. So if your hopes are pinned on the result, you are riding the worst emotional roller coaster. Speaking from personal experience, because I rode it for way too long, it is the worst. But the solution is simple once you realize it. You detach from the result because you can't control that, but you can control your actions. Focus on bringing your best to every interaction. Do more marketing and sales activities that will bring you more sales inquiries. Grow your skills, all of which you can control and which will help you get better results too. This way, you stop thinking, I feel so down because I'm not getting enough sales. Instead, you feel proud of yourself for doing all the things you've done that you know are going to grow your business. How does that reframe feel? I hope it feels more hopeful and empowering. But also, I'm excited to share tip number 3 with you because it's my favorite. If you're like me, you were taught to be very goal-oriented. Like, I wanna make this amount by this date in my business. To be even more transparent and relevant, I've been trying to reach 30,000 subscribers on YouTube for quite a while now. But as of this video, we are still only at 18,000 subscribers. It is very tempting for me to go into my default, oh, we're still not there, even though we put so much work and improvement into our content, design, editing, and everything we can think of. But the problem with thinking like this is that most of the time, there are variables outside of your control. Even though you can do your best to aim for the goal, there's always still a possibility that you'll miss it. If that still motivates you, go for it. But I know for me, it just makes me feel depressed. So instead of focusing on how far away I am from my goal, I like to look backwards. Because of the work I and everyone around me have put into improving our videos are now going twice as far as they used to. That's a 100% improvement. When you look at how far you've come, I think it's a lot more motivating because then you can realize, wow, I've come pretty far. Call it out. If you are proud of how far you've come in a certain area, let us know in the comments. Let's get you in the habit of focusing on things that build your hope. This way, you keep yourself in the game and you don't give up, which is how, before you know it, you're gonna look back and be amazed at how far you've come one day at a time. I really hope you found this helpful. Please do not give up. That is the only thing that will truly prevent you from having the business of your dreams. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which tip did you find the most helpful? What was your biggest takeaway? Please let me know in the comments.